There are deaths in the Bible that seem like punishments, but they're not. They are warnings. And the most dangerous part? The same pattern that led these people to death is still happening today, maybe with you. The Bible does not record random deaths. It records consequences. Invisible patterns that, when ignored, always lead to the same ending. And the problem isn't what you see, it's what you ignore. Today, you will understand the 7 worst deaths in the Bible, not as ancient stories, but as strategic codes about behavior, decision-making, and downfall. Because great falls begin silently, and the pattern always warns before it demands a price. Code 1. The death of Cain, Genesis 4:8. Cain kills his own brother Abel out of envy. Decoding. After that, his life becomes restless, marked by guilt and separation. The death here is not only Abel's, it is Cain's inner death. He didn't lose his physical life. He lost direction, peace, and identity. The pattern? Silent comparison that turns into resentment. Application. Maybe you've already done this without realizing it. Constantly comparing yourself, feeding envy, competing without purpose. The invisible always comes before the visible. Before the external fall, there is an internal rupture. Code 2. The death of Nadab and Abihu, Leviticus 10:1-2. The sons of Aaron offer strange fire before God, something outside the established pattern. Decoding. And they die instantly. It wasn't a lack of ability, it was overconfidence. They knew what to do, but chose to improvise where they shouldn't. How many times do you ignore processes because you think you already know? Application. The pattern here is clear. Disregarding basic principles out of arrogance. And this is where most people fail. The problem is not making mistakes. It's thinking you're above the rules. Code 3. The death of Uzzah 2. Samuel 6:6-7. Uzzah touches the Ark of the Covenant to prevent it from falling and dies instantly. Decoding. He had good intentions, but intention doesn't replace alignment. The invisible pattern, acting outside the script, even with emotional justification. Application. How many decisions do you make impulsively, thinking you're doing the right thing? This happens all the time. Good intentions plus wrong action equals the inevitable consequence. The pattern always warns before charging. Code 4. The death of Samson, Judges 16:30. Samson, betrayed by Delilah, loses his strength and dies when he brings down the temple on himself and his enemies. Decoding. Samson didn't fall at the end. He fell much earlier when he began to play with his own limits. The mistake wasn't Delilah, it was the repetition of choices that weakened him. Application. Perhaps you are doing this now, negotiating your principles little by little. The pattern is silent. Small concessions, loss of strength, inevitable fall. Great falls begin silently. Code 5. The death of Absalom the 2. Samuel 18:9-15. Absalom, David's son, rebels against his own father. During his escape, his hair gets caught in a tree and he is killed. Decoding. High pride, distorted vision. Absalom wanted power, but he lacked the emotional structure to sustain it. The invisible pattern, ambition without maturity. Application. You want to grow, but are you prepared for what comes with it? This is not a coincidence. It's a pattern. People rise quickly and fall even faster when they ignore the internal process. The problem is not success, it's what you become to achieve it. Code 6. The death of Ananias and Sapphira. Acts 5:1-10. The couple lies about an offering, trying to appear more generous than they actually were, and both die. Decoding. It wasn't about money, it was about image. The invisible pattern, trying to maintain an appearance that doesn't correspond to reality. Application. Perhaps you have already done this, showing a version of yourself that doesn't exist, on social media, at work, in relationships. But the pattern always demands internal incoherence, external collapse. The invisible always comes before the visible. Code 7. The death of Judas, Matthew 27:5. Judas betrays Jesus and, overcome with guilt, takes his own life. Decoding. The mistake wasn't just the betrayal. It was not knowing how to deal with one's own failure. The invisible pattern. Impulsive decisions followed by an emotional inability to recover. Application. You are not defined by the mistake, but by how you react after it. And this is where many get lost. Mistake, guilt, isolation, destruction. When the correct approach would be mistake, awareness, adjustment, evolution. These are not just deaths, they are signs. Silent warnings hidden in stories that many read, but few truly understand. They are maps of behavior, decision, and consequence, patterns that repeat themselves every day without exception. None of this is random. Everything follows a pattern. And the most unsettling thing? These patterns did not remain in the past. They continue to happen now. 7 patterns that repeat themselves every day. Comparison, arrogance, impulsiveness, self-sabotage, pride appearance, emotional escape. 7 different paths, but all lead to the same destination. Because the pattern never arrives shouting. It whispers, through small decisions, through repeated thoughts, through choices that seem harmless. And that's where the danger lies. The invisible always comes before the visible. Before the external fall, there is a silent internal construction. The question has never been if this happens. The question is, are you noticing the signs, or will you only understand when it's too late? 7 minutes of wisdom, a lifetime of results. This was today's code. Ancient code. What has always been there, but almost no one noticed.